You have a successful website, traffic is growing, and you want to put that exact experience right on your users' home screens. A quick search brings up dozens of no-code wrappers promising to turn your site into a mobile app in 5 minutes. You paste your URL, and supposedly the job is done. But Apple and Google have strict guidelines for what qualifies as an app. If you submit a simple web wrapper, Apple's reviewers will likely reject it for lacking native functionality. Even if it passes, your users will notice the friction, navigation lag, a lack of intuitive swipe gestures, and a complete failure to function the moment they lose cell service. Getting onto a user's phone is a specific strategic trade-off. You have to balance how fast you want to build against the quality of the experience you need to deliver. Every development team starts with the exact same wish list. They want native-level performance. They want the app to run on both iOS and Android, and they want to build it cheaply. This diagram shows the reality of software architecture. You can have high performance and low cost, but it won't be cross-platform. You can have cross-platform and fast development, but it won't perform like a native app. The center intersection, getting all three, does not exist. To figure out which two of those three constraints you should prioritize, we need to map out the three actual paths available to you: web, hybrid, and native architectures. Then we can use a diagnostic framework to match the right path to your specific business constraints. Ignoring these baseline constraints guarantees an inflated total cost of ownership. Your project will fail before you write a single line of code. The first path is the web view, or progressive web app. This approach takes your existing responsive HTML5 website and wraps it inside a basic app container. For Bootstrap teams, the appeal is obvious. You deploy rapidly with 0 new code bases to manage. Any content you update on your website automatically syncs to the mobile version. But that speed comes with severe limitations. The performance is noticeably sluggish. You lose reliable access to device-level features like biometric logins or offline storage, and app stores routinely reject apps that rely too heavily on web views. Web views cost very little and launch quickly, but they deliver a compromised user experience that struggles to retain users or meet basic platform standards. On the opposite end of the spectrum is the pure native approach. This requires building 2 entirely separate applications from scratch, using the specific languages required by the devices, Swift for iOS and Kotlin for Android. This method delivers peak performance, flawless animations, and immediate, unfettered access to all of the device sensors and hardware. This chart shows the massive total cost of ownership penalty you pay for that performance. You now have to hire and manage 2 specialized development teams, and your quality assurance testing time doubles. Every time you release a new feature or fix a bug, you have to write the code twice, test it twice, and coordinate synchronized updates across 2 entirely separate code bases. Pure Native offers the absolute gold standard for UX, but the staggering cost and maintenance burden make it massive overkill for most standard business applications. This brings us to the strategic middle ground, the hybrid architecture, which uses cross-platform frameworks like Capacitor, Ionic, or React Native. Instead of learning Swift and Kotlin, your developers write a single code base using standard web technologies, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. A translation framework, like Capacitor, acts as a bridge. It takes that web code and translates it into native SDK calls, providing direct access to the device's camera, file system, and push notifications, without requiring you to write a single line of Swift or Kotlin. Because the app relies on this translation layer, performance takes a slight hit compared to a pure native build. If you are developing a high frame rate video game or a heavy 3D application, this latency will be a problem. But if you are extending a standard web platform to mobile, hybrid delivers an optimal balance of write once, run anywhere efficiency and native hardware integration. Regardless of the front-end architecture you choose, a mobile app cannot simply read your website's visual layout. It needs a way to fetch raw data. This introduces the WordPress REST API. This flow diagram illustrates how it works. The API exposes your posts, products, and user data as clean JSON code. This separates your front-end mobile interface from the CMS backend, allowing the app to pull exactly the data it needs. To handle complex app-specific features that a standard web host struggles with, you need a robust mobile backend as a service, such as Firebase. Mobile users expect to log in once and stay logged in. Standard web cookies fail here. Firebase authentication provides the secure, persistent user logins and local token storage that mobile apps require. The Firebase real-time database keeps live data synced securely across devices, while Firebase AppCheck protects your backend resources by blocking unauthorized access. You also have to shift your thinking around caching. Instead of relying on browser caches, mobile apps use local databases like SQLite to store content so the app functions offline. Pairing a CMS REST API with a Firebase backend turns a static data feed into a responsive, secure, and persistent application that feels native. We can take all of these constraints and run them through a diagnostic framework to select the right architecture for your team. The first question on this tree is whether you need App Store deployment. If yes, and you need a game-like interface, the path leads to a pure native build. If targeting multiple platforms on a tight budget, it bypasses native, leading to a hybrid application. This flowchart proves there is no universal best architecture. There is only a strategic alignment between your chosen technology and your specific operational requirements. If you are a bootstrapper who just needs a basic content directory on a phone, build a progressive web app. You will save a massive amount of money, as long as you accept that you won't be listed in the iOS App Store. If you run a WooCommerce site and need features like offline carts and push notifications, choose the hybrid approach. Tools like Capacitor and Firebase will give you a native feel while saving you tens of thousands of dollars in development costs. And if you are building an innovative augmented reality tool or a fast-paced game where ultra-smooth performance is the core product, you have to absorb the high cost and build pure native. Do not choose native purely because of tech hype, and do not rely on a basic web view just because a no-code tool makes it look cheap and easy. A successful transition from a website to a mobile app requires you to act as your own CTO. You have to look past the marketing promises and match your underlying architecture to your exact business reality.